Welcome to Alchemize Yourself Tarot. I asked Spirit what the current connection that you're thinking of now, what is this connection creating for you? What is the purpose of this spiritually? And the message that came out is you're walking away from this connection. You're very disappointed, but you no longer want to chase. You don't even want this person anymore. So many of you have already completely detached from the particular person that's showing up in this reading. And this is actually opening up a new spiritual path for you. You're opening your mind to allow in new ideas, beliefs, and possibilities. So you're definitely shifting your narrative when it comes to this person being a soulmate or higher level of, spiritual connection. You're definitely shifting your beliefs at this time. And I'm really enjoying this energy because I feel like when relationships disappoint us or don't work out, I think it's really important to have a mindset shift. Also, you're opening yourself up to, maybe this wasn't your person. Also, some of you are going deeper into your spiritual practice. This is actually leveling you up in some way. You're becoming more connected to the spiritual world, the natural world, to trusting your intuition. You're not projecting or some sort of magical quality onto the connection. But we're going to explore what this connection is creating. What is this connection creating at this time? This is the alchemical side of relationships and the purpose that they and role that they play in our lives. What is their current energy? Or what is the true energy occurring between? I'm getting that there's a severing of ties. There's an acceptance that something is over. But what is the underlying energy between the two of you? We've got Queen of Grails, Queen of Cups. So there's definitely strong emotions, but I'm also getting this is about your own personal transformation. You're diving deeper into the emotions that you had in this connection. You're exploring that on a deeper level. You're learning how to trust your intuition. I'm getting that you're mastering your emotions as well. You're more in control. But what's interesting is even though you're disappointed in how this went, you're actually leveling up emotionally because you're not chasing this person. You're not demanding a relationship. You're not trying to, it's like you're not entitled to having a mutual bond with this person, but you still love them. That's where you're leveling up spiritually. Sometimes walking away from somebody is the loving thing to do. That is the emotionally evolved way to react when something doesn't work out. So you're leaving them with love, and I feel like they're respecting that about you. I think they're definitely sensing that you've mastered the way you feel in regards to whatever has happened. There's acceptance here. There's no animosity. There's no resentment. And I think that's actually holding this loving space between the two of you, because it is evolving you spiritually. It's like when you know that you can't, literally be with a person, but you still have love for the lessons. And I know some people don't like that. Well, the spiritual lesson and this and that. But I think you're seeing this from a higher perspective, that this person was just part of your journey. What is going on in their inner world? Lord of Knives. So this is the King of Swords. This person is very determined to stay on the rational side of things. They are definitely not necessarily in their heart space. They're thinking strategically. I'm getting that this person is very action oriented towards their goals, their ambitions, very purposeful. And sometimes you can love somebody. You can love somebody very much, but not necessarily be aligned in goals and purpose. So it could be that this person is allowing you to walk away because they know that, I don't know, it's like they know that, the Lord of Knives also sees the big picture. And there's a little bit, a lot. The Queen of Grails and the Lord of Knives really operate very differently. The Lord of Knives is a planner, a strategist. They're methodical. They can be very diplomatic, but they can also be very rigid and detached. Air energy is not necessarily always in the heart space. There could be a heart opening here, but I think there's like this acceptance that the two of you are very different. Very different from one another. What is their inner world, though? What is the inner world? What is going on, like, on a subconscious level? It's like the overall energy of this connection is there's a lot of love and mutual respect, but there's also an acknowledgement of your differences. And the inner world that they're experiencing is this Nine of Scepters in reverse, the Nine of Wands in the reverse. I think this person realizes that there were a lot of shared wounds here, or both of you came into this relationship feeling maybe really wounded, defensive. But I'm getting the Nine of Scepters being in the reverse is sometimes a card of burnout, feeling overextended, feeling exhausted, not necessarily being ready for a new relationship. Now, if their heart space is opening, they could be like opening up to the possibility of healing at this time. But I think this person's aware that, they weren't necessarily ready for this connection, that they were not in a good headspace. I think this person is mentally clearing their headspace right now in regards to you. They're seeing you from a different perspective. And they may even be acknowledging the wounds and baggage that they brought in to the connection, that maybe both of you brought into this. So you're both leveling up and maturing in the way you view the connection and one another. What is your inner world, though? What are you experiencing? Daughter of Knives in the reverse. I feel like you're just tired of waiting for communication. You may have lost interest because there was a lack of communication. There were misunderstandings. Yeah, I'm getting that, water and air are two very different energies. It's like you feel like you were misunderstood. You may have even expressed yourself and it came out wrong. Or you're confused about this person's behavior or their actions. You may be confused about why they were very cold with you. They may have been really quick to take action at one point in the connection, but then it's like there was burnout, there was an exhaustion. And also the two of you are not communicating, so there's a lot of that you don't really know. And that's why you're coming to a reading. You're in no contact. You don't know what's going on with this person. They may have confused you. This is Moon in Sagittarius, so it's mutable. It was like a lot of passion exerted, but then a lot of hidden emotions that played out here. A lot of hidden wounds. I'm getting a woodpecker in the background. I don't know if you guys hear that. But it's like your inner world is really shutting down. You've definitely withdrawn. You're not communicating. You're not trying to seek clarity anymore. You're not pushing. I think the Daughter of Knives in the reverse says that you're not trying to get this person to explain themselves. You're not pushing for that understanding anymore. There's like this intuitive knowledge and awareness, and they're picking up on that too. There's like a mutual, unspoken understanding between the two of you. Woodpeckers could be significant here. But what is the magnetic force? What's continuing to pull you together or actually push you apart? What was the magnetic force here? The magnetic force, ooh, could be that there were a lot of hidden anxieties, feeling mentally stuck, feeling victimized by the past in some way, unable to do something. But then the opposite is that there was something about this connection that set you free in some way. Because the Prince of Scepters, you know, the Knight of Wands is about freedom, passion, going after what you want. So this was an opportunity to break free and out of something, to express passion and desire. There was a lot of adventure. Maybe both of you came together at a time when you were very stuck, very wounded. And then it was like this connection was very exciting, very passionate. You got to explore that about yourself in a new and exciting way. So there was definitely a strong desire and passion, a lot of attraction. But there was also a part of the both of you that felt stuck, possibly in other situations, old karmic patterns, dealing with karma. It was like a chance to break free, a chance to explore a new side of yourselves. You know, sometimes you can see yourself in another person. You can see where you're trapped or stuck or wounded. And the connection gives you that opportunity for exploration and fun and playfulness. You brought in this watery, intuitive, emotional aspect, and then this person brought in maybe this different way of thinking. You know, the Lord of Knives. I'm getting that there could have been a lot of different ideas, because it goes back to ideas, beliefs. I think you changed one another's mindset. You brought in new energy at a time of possible stagnancy. Maybe both of you were really stagnant when you first came together. And that can be really exciting. There can be a lot of chemistry. This was definitely an opposite attract. So opposites attract, that whole concept comes from the magnetic pool. The positive and negative charge. It's like two very different people, two very different backgrounds or belief systems. So it can be really exciting in initial phases. But the hidden dynamic, the unconscious pattern here, what was the hidden dynamic, the unconscious pattern between you and this person was the Daughter of Reckless. The two of you may be really restless and reckless. We're getting page energy, so when a lot of pages come out in a reading, I'm getting like a playfulness, an inner child energy. The Knights represent more like that teenager, young adult energy to me. So it's like the unconscious pattern is that there was something new, playful, and energized. It was like you broke one another out of your comfort zones. It was like this connection was a place to explore your inner child. You could be playful. You could kind of joke around, be passionate, explore passion, especially if you're feeling trapped and stuck. It's exciting when you meet somebody that's out of your comfort zone or different than your usual type or different than what you're usually experiencing on a day-to-day. The Queen of Grails and the Lord of Knives have to be really serious in their day-to-day lives. And I think both of you brought out like a passionate recklessness, like an inner child. But there could have also been some wounds that got triggered here. You might have, reminded one another of childhood crushes, things like that. It was like you may have even felt like you knew this person when you were younger. Some of you may have, but I'm getting more like the two of you reminded one another of a younger version of yourselves. And this was an opportunity to explore that. And it may have been very reckless at a time when you didn't have a lot of freedom, at a time when you were feeling really stuck. And many times connections like this, they become catalysts, or they're very short-lived because you're not necessarily compatible in the long term, but there's something very significant. It's like you wanted this to be something because it was exciting, or it is exciting, it is passionate, but there's a disconnect. And I think there's a lot of deep love here, but this person may have felt really reckless. You may have even felt like you rushed into this, that you weren't in a good headspace, right? With the Eight of Swords, you weren't fully healed. Nine of Wands, Eight of Swords. Those are cards of meeting someone when you're not really fully over something or healed or feeling your most liberated self. And the lesson it's teaching you is the Eight of Grails. Yeah, it's teaching you to know when to walk away, when to not force something. I'm getting that both of you met at a time when you were seeking and searching for healing and understanding of past wounds. But the lesson here at Eight of Cups, you have to, and there's these chains again, a lot of chains with the eights. Eights are significant here. But it's like knowing when something's not going to work, or something, like the timing was not right for this connection, that there was more up ahead on your journey. And sometimes it seems like, well, was that just a short-lived fling, or was that meaningless? But the lesson of knowing how to surrender and walk away, especially when you know you're not ready, or you're not ready to integrate somebody into your life, there was a quick burnout to this connection. And I don't think it was because there was no love or thoughtfulness. I think it was because the passion was really intense at a time when there was still a lot more healing to do. And what is needing to be released, I think that's becoming obvious here. What's needing to be released is knowing how to emotionally attach. Also, Eight of Cups, this could be knowing how to detach from the past. Some of you still had not disconnected from your past when you met this person. You still had a lot of wounds. You still had a lot of baggage. Nine of Wands can be someone with a lot of baggage. I mean, she doesn't look like she has a lot of baggage, but you know what I mean. It's like the Nine of Wands is that, I think both of you understood that you weren't necessarily ready for the intensity of this connection, or the fact that it was triggering these deeper aspects of you. It was bringing out maybe a lot of miscommunication because you are very different. And I have this feeling that both of you are thinking differently about the world after having dealt with this person. This person definitely knows, and you know as well, that you were not fully healed and ready for this connection, and it was affecting the connection. It was actually acting more as a trigger and a miscommunication, misunderstandings, because you were both coming into this in not the best headspace, especially if you or this person or both of you were coming out of other connections. Knowing how to walk away from the past, knowing how to detach from the past. But the likely direction here is definitely somebody taking action, but this is all about success and victory. This is a catalyst for some sort of victory, overcoming something, learning how to take action toward whatever you're passionate about. I think this connection could have the potential to come back together and be successful, but there's definitely a lot of shadow work and hidden baggage that needs to be released first. But this could actually lead both of you to success in other areas of your life. This person could act as a catalyst or inspiration. Like, I'm getting a strong inspirational energy here, because the fact that your belief systems are changing, I mean, that can change your whole life, your whole perspective on life, overcoming something, increasing your confidence and your awareness, being successful in something that you're wanting to pursue. You definitely are acting as a motivation for one another, especially from the masculine side. The masculine aspect of the energy is feeling more empowered, more action-oriented, not acting like the victim or feeling stuck anymore, learning how to walk away from things in the past. That could be very inspirational. So this could be happening kind of behind the scenes. And the Queen of Knives in the reverse, there was definitely like a distortion, a misunderstanding, and a loss from the past. I'm getting like past love here. The Lovers in the reverse, the Five of Scales. It's like getting over something from the past, that Nine of Wands. So what's actually being transformed is something when in regards to your long-term goals. Yeah, being successful in long-term goals, setting new goals. But this is the long-term. I always see the Ten of Pentacles as like long-term goals, long-term investment, long-term stability, commitments to things. This could even be like a long-term career path that's being transformed, not being stuck in an old pattern, but opening up new potential and possibilities. And as we're talking about all this catalyst, I see fire as the catalyst, right? There's a lot of fire energy. There's a lot of passion, a lot of redirection here as well. The catalyst is, yeah, this ending, this fallout is a catalyst for change. Fives represent change. Like, let's say you had a falling out, a disagreement, an argument with this person. It's actually fueling change. That's the way you need to look at it. Both of you are changing in a major way. You're changing your beliefs. You're seeing the world differently. You came into one another's life to maybe redirect one another as far as your goals, success, leveling up, being more empowered, not staying in situations that no longer are empowering you but keeping you stuck. I think that's pretty powerful. There was a moment of truth here. And I'm getting, like, with the shadow angel, it's like you triggered one another's shadow and impulse, but it's acting as a catalyst to do it differently, not repeat the same mistakes. You're not repeating the same mistakes, and they're not wanting to repeat the same mistakes either. And if that means that you have to walk away from this connection to not repeat a karmic pattern, so be it. Right? That's the takeaway. If this person was triggering you to go back into an old feeling of victimhood, misunderstanding, incompatibility, you both clocked it. You both recognized that. And the inner gift of all of this is, I'm getting this new path opening up. Sometimes you have to detach and be willing to walk away, to keep going, to keep moving forward on your long-term goals and ambitions, not get stuck up in distractions or wounds, or, being with somebody that you're not that compatible with. But the inner gift is, this is redirecting you with the Three of Wands, and then to new love and self-love. I'm also getting doing something that you love. There's a lot of creative energy. So you're moving in a new direction after having dealt with this person. And you're realizing that there's somebody else out there. And that can be hard to hear. Some of you, like I said, some of you have already walked away. You don't want this person anymore. You know that there's somebody better for you that's more aligned with you. And that there was a reason that this didn't work. That there's somebody more compatible with your long-term goals too. And also, King of Swords, Queen of Cups, they understand that. They know when a partnership isn't going to work as far as long-term. It might be fun and exciting, but that fun and excitement burn out really quick when it comes to practical long-term goals. Yeah, the Tower in the reverse. You dodged a bullet is what I'm getting. This could have actually been a very destructive relationship. And also, this is like knowing that ego was playing a big role in the dynamic in some way. So you're avoiding catastrophe. You're avoiding a big blowout later. So if this was short-lived or if it didn't work out, Spirit's saying that maybe it never would have. It's like you're dodging a bullet by not trying, being willing to walk away and not trying to force the relationship to work. Nine of Knives, I think this connection was bringing you a lot of anxiety about being in a lover's connection with this person, maybe not wanting to be alone, wanting to fill a void, but it's like the more you walk away, the more you release, the more relief you get. That's a good indicator too. The more peace you get, the further you get away from the connection, and you're setting your sights in a new direction, you're like, wow, that really would not have worked. Or it was just bad timing. And not all love readings are going to be, these big fantasy-like endings. Sometimes we just have to look at it from a higher perspective. And I think both of you knew that this could have been a disaster if you would have tried to force it. I'm going to get another healing message here to close out But yeah, open your mind to allow in new ideas, beliefs, and possibilities, especially when it comes to partnership and love, your ambitions, your long-term goals. You know, sometimes we really care about someone and we're really magnetized and attracted to them, but they don't really fit in. It's like, where do they fit into the big picture? That's what you have to look at. Is it going to be beneficial, or is it going to be a big fat mess? You know, like if you were really with this person. And just know that there's greater love out there. You don't have to settle, and you don't have to get stuck with somebody, especially if you're wounded and you're bringing a lot of baggage at that time. I'm getting that it wasn't the right time for this connection. So even if you were to be successful later, it's leading you to something greater and more successful. Wild, yeah, you're meant to be wild. You're meant to be free. I think I think both of you may even want to be single and pursue your ambitions. And that could have been it. Like there was something that was, you know, triggering a separation, like, hey, I'm not ready for this. There's more out there in the world. Definitely an energy of wanting to be single. Wanting to be, you know, have freedom to pursue things. Yeah, with this page in reverse energy, you may have felt like you didn't want to be restricted. You wanted to be able to explore the world and do things impulsively and not have to be tied down to anybody, especially if you were both coming from past long-term relationships. Someone needs the freedom to explore, and you need to embrace that too. It's like you no longer want them because it's like you don't want to be tied down anyway. There's more to explore out in the world. You're kind of in this hermit, like I know they're two different energies, but like that Page of Wands, there's more out in the world. What's out there? Do I really want to settle yet? And you have to respect, like, some people vilify that and say, oh, they're non-committal, but there's usually an underlying reason for someone being non-committal. They're not ready to settle down. You know, they want to, you know what's out in the world. I mean, if you come back together later, fine, but you can't force something. There's other possibilities to explore, and procrastination. And there's that number 8. I think many of you were procrastinating on going after your dreams, exploring the world. I'm getting that this connection started to feel like it was delaying you or holding you back from doing other things. Not just in love, but in your work, in your long-term goals. Could be that this was a distraction. It was a procrastination in the sense that it wasn't really getting you to where you need to be at this time. So I hope this gave you a little confirmation, and you know, don't feel bad about walking away. And maybe it was disappointing, or it is disappointing that this is not working out. But I see many of you have a lot more to explore in your world. And there's a lot of things that you haven't been doing that you need to catch up on, as far as some of you want to travel. You want to meet different kinds of people. You want to study or create different things. And I'm getting just 2 people that aren't in the headspace to settle down right now. So, sending you love. Hopefully this reading helped you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.